This is a repairing video with troubleshooting. The issue is when you key on, the meter shows a demo screen, making it impossible to check the meter reading. However, once you start the engine, the demo disappears, but the distance checking button is no longer working. How do we fix this? Stay with SetNFix for the solution. This is the car meter. First, you need to locate the circuit board. There are two screws holding it in place, which you'll carefully need to remove using a screwdriver. Once those screws are out, the front plastic cover is secured with locks. Gently push or pull to release these locks, being mindful not to force anything, as it may cause damage. Opening this meter isn't a short process, which is why I've included every step without cuts. You'll see the full procedure to ensure you understand how to handle it properly. Along the way, you'll notice some mistakes I made. There were times I accidentally broke small plastic parts, so it's important to be extremely cautious when handling the cover. Especially if you're repairing a meter for someone else, precision and care are paramount. The most challenging part is removing the meter hands. These hands need to be removed carefully by gently pulling them upwards. However, avoid doing it all at once, as this could damage the delicate components. Work slowly and ensure both hands are removed gently. If you feel confident and prefer to skip this section, that's understandable. But I highly recommend watching all steps carefully, as even the small mistakes help illustrate how delicate the process can be. By following these steps, you'll ensure a safer and more precise repair when dealing with a car meter. As I mentioned earlier in the instructions, the car meter works perfectly fine once the engine is started. This is a good indicator for troubleshooting, as it shows there might be an issue with the power lines or the speedometer sensor lines. To diagnose this, you'll need to carefully trace the connections by connecting the meter circuit directly to the car system. I did a similar job and took the time to draw pinouts to identify the wire connections. This step has been incredibly helpful for future repairs, as it ensures that each connection is accounted for and reduces the chances of errors. Having a clear visual representation of the pinouts can save a lot of time and prevent unnecessary damage during the repair process. When handling parts, avoid using sharp tools for removing components. These can easily damage delicate pieces, such as the meter dial, which is crucial for maintaining the meter's functionality. Ensure you keep all plastic parts and screws organized separately to avoid losing any small components during the repair. By following these steps carefully, you can ensure a more accurate and efficient repair, keeping the meter intact while troubleshooting electrical issues. Since you already know the power lines, you can easily supply power to activate the meter. As I found, there are battery and accessories connections. However, you only need to connect the accessories and ground connections to power on the meter. This should be sufficient to get the meter working. You'll notice that the meter starts functioning properly, even if it was malfunctioning earlier. Since you already know the issue, we can trace the path connected to the speedometer. This is the speedometer pin, and you can easily find the path using the buzzer mode of a multimeter. When I followed the path, I discovered that it is directly connected to the chip after the transistor. We can look up the data for this 1am transistor, which helps us understand how the signal flows. The chip is connected to the collector pin of the transistor, meaning the transistor sends a signal directly to the chip once the speedometer generates a signal. I wanted to confirm if the transistor is working properly, so I checked its output voltage. However, it showed around 10 volts, which is impossible for a transistor to output such a high voltage. Therefore, I need to replace it now to ensure the meter functions correctly. You can remove this SMD transistor without a hot gun. Avoid using a hot gun if you can remove it safely with just a soldering iron. Now, it's time to replace the transistor. This is a 9013 transistor, and its SMD code is 1am. If you can't find an SMD version, you can use a standard transistor, but make sure to check the pinouts carefully to ensure proper connection. Now, let's see what happens when the engine is on. When the engine starts, the speedometer sends a signal to this pin, causing the meter details to change like this. You can observe that it functions correctly when I manually provide a signal to the base pin of the transistor. However, our issue is still not resolved. So, I downloaded the EEPROM datasheet to check its pinouts, as I suspect the problem might be with the memory. Here's the datasheet. You can see that pin 7 is connected to the switch, which is designed to protect the data. Looking at the circuit, there's a capacitor connected to this pin. To troubleshoot further, I decided to short the capacitor to reset the EEPROM. Now you can see that the distance meter is functioning properly and no longer behaving like a demo. The issue is nearly resolved. We can confirm this by reinstalling the meter into the car. Carefully reinstall all parts of the car's speedometer, paying special attention to the meter hands. Fix them securely but gently, avoiding excessive force to ensure they are properly aligned. After securing the casing, I tested the meter once more. After reinstalling, I checked again, and there are no issues now. As you know, fixing a speedometer can be costly, but if you take the time to do it yourself, you not only save money but also gain a sense of personal satisfaction. This is what I emphasize in my videos: be innovative. We tend to get lazy when it comes to troubleshooting, including myself. It took me over a month to find a solution, but I ultimately succeeded. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Be innovative and stay with SetNFix.